Okay, guys, I don't know if you checked this out yet, but if you look down below, there's a new button on your little viewer there. That looks like a head that with some like dreadlocks behind it. It's called Snoopavision. I just clicked it and it sent me to a new page, and it's awesome. Oh man. Well, I do have a pretty good cold tonight, so you'll have to bear with me as I deal with a pretty bad hacking cough, but I'm sure that we can get through all this. Just to start off tonight, I'm going to be playing Assassin's Creed 2 here in a little bit. I have the link down in the description. If you will, click on that, follow me there. After the prologue is over with, we can hang out for a couple hours, play some Assassin's Creed. You can watch me make fun of it and whatnot, although I love the Assassin's Creed series. But first, we have a few stories that we need to talk about. And the first one up, though, is going to be Texas. Yes, we are going to be talking about Ken Ham here in just a little bit. But first, we need to discuss Texas, because Texas has been fucking up. Of course, everybody knows that Texas fucks up in general, right? I mean, they do everything big in Texas, and boy, do they fuck up big in Texas. Well, the big story that I want to talk about tonight is how a woman was forced to carry a stillborn child to term, and forced to give birth to the dead. Like the dead kid was inside the woman. Hold on. Let's see. Due to Texas abortion ban, woman forced to carry stillborn 20-week-old fetus to term. Like, they knew the baby was dead inside of the woman, but because of the fucked up laws in Texas, they made her carry it to term and give birth. Just because they didn't want to offend their religious sensibilities. Because they have this abortion ban. Because apparently this woman couldn't get the stillborn, the dead fetus out of her because it would violate the law. Way to go, Texas! You just forced a woman to carry a dead child, give birth to that dead child, go through all of that to quite literally just have nothing but a dead baby at the end of it. Way to go, Texas. You're fucking up royally. But it doesn't end there. Oh no. Disney has come under attack from a Texas conservative group called, let me pull this up. Hold on. Texas Values. They're basically claiming that apparently Disney, as well as other companies, have bullied a Republican governor in Georgia to veto a bill. If you don't know, recently in Georgia, they had this bill that was going up that was very anti-LGBT. It was pretty much set to pass and with flying colors and just be one of the most bigoted bills in Georgia. But pretty much a bunch of companies, including The Walking Dead, which is, bringing in a shit ton of money to the state, them, as well as a lot of others, they list them on here as Apple, Disney, the NCAA, and Intel, all suggested that they were going to leave the state if, in fact, they passed this bill. Now, it's well within the rights of the governor to pass the bill if he really wanted to, but he would come at the consequence of these people, leaving the state, these companies leaving the state, choosing to leave the state. But you know how the religious have turned it? They have turned it into this whole persecution thing, saying that Disney has launched an all-out attack on Christianity. Not on anti-LGBT sentiments. No. Christianity. Because apparently Christianity is completely anti-LGBT, at least by this Texas conservative group. Which is kind of funny to me because, they're pretty much openly admitting, like, yeah, we hate faggots. Fuck them. I mean, no, wait, don't fuck them. Don't, no. But they basically are pushing this whole persecution thing, asking whether or not Disney is going to force Christians to like hide their Christian necklaces and their Christian wear and their like Christ shirts that say, "Oh yeah, big boy Christ here," kind of thing. I mean, they're actually suggesting that Disney's going to do this because now they're standing with, the right side of history and saying, "Hey, you can't pass these kind of laws and expect us to just sit idly by and give you our money." So they're pushing this whole narrative that it is completely and wholly an attack on Christianity. They also suggest that maybe Catholic priests can't wear their little collars inside the park either. No, I mean, last time I checked, the only real dress code for Disney is pretty much wear clothes. It doesn't matter what kind of clothes you wear. Like, I wouldn't suspect that you could wear like a Jenna Jameson and Ron Jeremy porn scene like on your shirt going through Disney. I don't think that would be acceptable. Damn this cough. But I just find it really, really crazy, and because this plays a lot into what Ken Ham is going to be talking about here in a second. But before we get to Ken Ham, we also need to talk about California. Yes, in California, let's see. Damn. In California, a school closed temporarily after an unvaccinated student with measles exposes his classmates. Now, I have to say, I really can't believe that in America we have such a force that is so against science, so against like the medical professions, that they're actually pushing this whole idea about how vaccines are bad for you. I mean, there was a bullshit episode. I don't know if you know the Penn and Teller bullshit series, but they did one on vaccinations and whatnot. And they were like, okay, well, let's give you that, the statistics that these people are spouting are correct in that, vaccines cause autism. So what they did was they kind of did a demonstration showing how even if it did cause autism in some population of the population, that it would still be worth the risk to even do it because it protects against all of these different diseases. So, I find it really, really horrible that these people are actually going against medicine and saying, hey, I'm not going to vaccinate my child. Because some important person some important actress, actor, who the fuck ever says, oh, they're bad. Don't you know they cause autism? They're just trying to get you to spend money. Well, yeah, okay, the medical community is trying to get you to spend money to protect your child. And, it's not like they're making bukus of money off of this. Of course, they are, because everybody fucking has to have them. But let's see. The California charter school had to temporarily close down because an unvaccinated student contracted the measles. Under California law, parents are required to immunize their children. However, the mandate isn't fully in effect until later in the year. Which, I mean, how do you guys feel exactly on the whole mandating or forcing, or not forcing, but putting it into law that you have to be vaccinated? Personally, I completely support the action. I support the fact that, we want to make sure that our herd immunity is kept in check, is kept strong, is really kept, to where if somebody does contract the measles, then other students aren't going to get, really affected. That they're not going to get, infected by these diseases that have been pretty much stomped out in civilized society. I mean, we're seeing these diseases pop up, which normally only pop up in undeveloped countries. I mean, is that really how bad it is? Is that how bad that you don't want to vaccinate your kids? Is you want to turn the United States into basically a developing country that would love, they would give their right arms in order to have these friggin' vaccines. But us Americans over here with our first world fucking problems, we're sitting here like, oh yeah, sure, no, I'm not going to give my child the vaccine because it may cause autism, or as some of them, but it does cause autism, which has no scientific backing on it at all. There's been no legitimate study that has actually studied the link and come up with a positive link between vaccines and autism. There's just no link at all. And, the whole rumor of the connection between autism and vaccines was through a faulty, study where they didn't do science correctly. And it's kind of like, once you say some bad shit and you get that bad shit out there and you start talking about it, other people are going to just believe it. Like, they're just going to believe it without actually thinking about it, without actually researching it, without actually talking about it with professionals, with actual scientists. And since it's already out there, you're not gonna. It's gonna take like 10 times more effort in order to squash that idea, especially when you have like prominent celebrities and whatnot that are jumping on the bandwagon of, hey, fuck vaccines, am I right? Even though like vaccines, like before we had vaccines, before like the polio vaccine was developed and all this other stuff, I mean, we were dying left and right from like polio and all of these really simple fucking diseases that we have already found the vaccine for. And personally, I don't want my child to die from a disease that was supposedly stomped out like 50, 60 years ago, and is really just such a rare occurrence in the United States that it actually makes the news when it happens. But now it's getting to the point where it's so repetitive that these outbreaks happen that it's becoming the norm. We are getting that much closer to becoming a developing country, as far as our herd immunity goes. And it's just fucking sad. I mean, I really don't understand why you wouldn't want to take the utmost precautions. I understand that some parents out there, they want their children to develop healthy immunities, which is fine. Allow your kids to play in the dirt. Allow them to get sick. That's how they build up an immunity, right? Don't keep them sequestered in their rooms away from other sick kids or something like that. They can build this immunity to these basic, like colds and whatnot. They can build these immunities. But what you can't build an immunity naturally for are these diseases that are just fucking widespread as shit. These immunity or these diseases that are so brutal and forceful when they attack your immune system that your immune system just can't hold up to it. And it's not like, it's not like these diseases like, only decimate your immune system, which in case you guys don't know, that just means knock it down by about 10%. It's not like it just hits you a little bit and then boom, you can recover and you get more antibodies. No, it's kind of like boom, it hits it with the force of like a nuclear weapon, and you're totally fucked on your immune system. And chances are you may not come back from it because these are deadly fucking diseases. And the reason why we develop vaccines is to build those immunities by introducing low-dose versions of it, like low-dose dead versions of the disease, so that our bodies don't get totally nuclear splattered when we actually come into contact with the disease. We're actually able to build up a better defense to it. That way, we're only decimated when it comes to that disease, getting to us and whatnot. Let's see, there's a question in the comments here that you can't really see. GE, what would you do if you found out that some of the kids in your son's school didn't get vaccinated because their parents refused? Yeah, I would be really... if I knew that a child in my school, that a child in my son's school was not vaccinated and their parents refused to vaccinate, I would definitely be very wary about it. Like, I would almost get to the point where I'd be like, look, I don't feel comfortable sending my son to school. I really wouldn't, because basically that kid is a ticking time bomb. I mean, at any point he could come in contact with some kind of virus and, get it. While my son is vaccinated, that doesn't always mean, like just because my son's vaccinated doesn't mean that he can't ultimately, not get the disease. I mean, there's just a lower possibility of him actually getting it. But the reason why you get the vaccine is so that you build up an immunity and you fight off any of these things. See, that's the thing with herd immunity. With herd immunity, the entire population of one community or whatnot has an immunity to something. That way, if any one certain thing comes into contact with it, the herd immunity kind of protects the entire population. And that is what we have to stabilize in our country. The kid is a ticking time bomb. Well, now let's get to Ken Ham, shall we? Let's talk about Ken Ham. Ken Ham. And this is in relation to Texas, actually. Ken Ham has been spouting off this rhetoric of, Christianity's under attack in America. And basically he's saying that it's not like, he's asking, like, how long is it before the Bible's banned in America? Now, if you haven't heard of Jim Bakker this past week saying that Christians are going to be gunned down at graduation ceremonies for reciting Bible verses and whatnot, I mean, this is just more bullshit being spread by a man that is in support of a religion that's floundering right now. It's losing popularity among the population. We're seeing, belief in God go down in America. We're seeing that the nuns group rising, and basically he's trying to push this persecution story of Christians being persecuted in America. And this is really a case of first world problems, because like he's worried about like the bill in Georgia, how the businesses were threatening to leave the state if they pass this anti-LGBT law, which they interpret as being anti-Christian, because Christianity's anti-LGBT. They're anti-equality. Not they, but the religion is anti-equality in general. The Christianity as a religion, as the dogma stands, doesn't want equality. They want superiority. That's what they want. They want to be the supreme religion of the land. And basically, it's basically like, it's like this. It's like Christianity or Christians in America are kind of like trying to be the big brother that's allowing the other little brothers that have that are mentally handicapped act like they're playing along and helping out around the house. That's how I feel that people like Ken Ham and Jim Bakker feel that other religions are. It's like, yes, because they push this rhetoric of, hey, we're a Christian nation, okay? That's what we are. We're a Christian nation, and Christians are at the top of the food chain here, so that means that we are a Christian nation. And we let you have your own religious faith, but to be a true American, you gotta be Christian. At least that's what Rubio said. That's what a lot of these prominent figures in Christianity nowadays, that's what they actually think. Jim Bakker thinks it. This fucktard thinks it. And I have to say that I really hate this rhetoric that they're spreading. It really is just fucking stupid as shit. Okay? Because there is no way that we are going to ban the Bible. You see, what they're really floundering about is losing the upper hand on society, losing that privilege that they've always had, losing that Christian privilege that they seem to have always fucking had in America. And I think that it's pretty sad that they're resorting to this persecution complex, because the persecution of Christians throughout history hasn't always been what they think it is. I mean, of course, Christians persecuted other Christians, before, they escaped to North America and whatnot. But, the actual persecution of Christians by people outside of Christianity is very slim and is actually mostly made up. But I mean, that's totally relevant here, because Ken Ham, Jim Bakker, all these fuckers, they're making up shit. They're making up stuff that just isn't true, like banning the Bible, shooting up Christians as they recite Bible verses at a graduation. I mean, for Ken Ham to say this, I mean, he's really just like he's got to know that it's not true, and he's just trying to scare his fellow Christians. He's trying to provoke that fight or flight mentality in hopes that they're going to fight. And he's trying to provoke the fight or flight, and then he's also ramping them up to fight for it. Like, he's really pushing this fight for your faith kind of mentality. Let's see. In a blog post, he wrote, "This is an alarming example of how quickly Christians are losing religious freedom across the West." No, Ken Ham, Christians aren't losing religious freedom. We're just actually applying equality how it was meant to be applied. In this case, it wasn't even acceptable for this chaplain to use God's word during a chapel service, a complete voluntary service who those attending would expect to hear God's word. It won't be long before we see this happening in other countries, including America. Now, let's see. He's talking about a chaplain. Let's see. A prison chaplain, he claims, was fired for reciting a hateful Bible verse and telling his followers that this is a sign of things to come, and soon they will be coming for Christians' Bibles. Well, I mean, you're talking about a prison chaplain. I mean, you can't exactly be spouting off some of the, I mean, I really don't think that you should be spouting off some of the more hateful verses in the Bible to these prisoners. I mean, that's just sort of like tossing, gas on a fire. It's like you're just fueling it, man. Let's see. He goes on to say, and really, the authorities are saying the Bible itself is not suitable for people. How long before it will be outlawed? I really don't think that he has to worry about it being outlawed. I mean, it's pretty fucking ridiculous for them to think that it's going to be outlawed, mainly for the fact that, we have the First Amendment that protects religious faith, that protects religion. But you see, the thing is that we're preventing religion from having an influence on our government now. And that's what he's feeling. And, I don't know the exact circumstances of this prison chaplain, why he got fired, because he might have been spouting something that was against the prison rules or something like that. Maybe that's why he got fired. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares? This isn't being applied to, the general population. I mean, he's really taking such a vague statement and turning it into some kind of massive persecution conspiracy, and it's just completely sad. But anyways, That's Ken Ham. I'm sorry for repeating so much. If you will, go down below, hit that link to go over to Assassin's Creed. I'm going to start streaming over there as soon as I get up the stream. And we're going to be playing Assassin's Creed 2, the very first one. We're playing all the way through it. I hope that you'll join me there. If you liked the prologue and like the stories that I presented to you tonight, hit that like button. Also, subscribe if you will. I do these every Friday and Monday. And I hope that you guys will join me then, as well as during throughout the week when I post other videos. So I will see you guys later. I'll see you over there at GE Plays, and I hope that you'll follow me. Y'all have a nice night, and I'll see you later.